Imagine walking into your sister's fairy tale wedding and realizing you're not the plot twist. That's what happened to Amber. And by the end of this story, you're going to decide if she was too cold, too kind, or absolutely savage in the best way. All right, let's roll. So picture this: crystal chandeliers, marble floors, the kind of resort where even the napkins look like they have a trust fund. Amber walks into the ballroom with her husband Michael, who's a heart surgeon, and their 6-year-old son, Leo. She's in this simple black Valentino dress, no giant logos. Just quiet, I'm doing fine without you money. What nobody in that room knows is that 11 years ago, this same family kicked her out with one suitcase and a bank account they'd already emptied. We'll get there. Michael leans in and whispers, "Breathe. We earned our place here." Leo is tugging at his bow tie like it's a torture device. "Mom, this thing is trying to choke me." She kneels down. "Just for a little while, buddy. Good behavior now. Swimming pool after the reception. Deal?" He sighs, big dramatic kid energy, but he nods. Amber stands up, the crowd shifts, and that's when her heart stops. Because across the room, raising a champagne glass in a perfect bridal moment, is Grace. Her sister. Same head tilt, same little lean when she laughs. Amber hasn't seen that in 11 years, but her body remembers instantly. Their eyes lock. The glass trembles in Amber's hand, but that's the only sign anything is wrong. On the outside, she is ice calm CEO. Inside, earthquake. She hadn't recognized the name on the invitation. Daniel Brooks. She assumed Grace was still using their last name, Collins. Big mistake. Grace gasps. The sound cuts across the room like a knife. Heads turn. The music keeps playing, but suddenly there's this silent bubble around the two of them. Behind Grace, their mom's face goes ghost white, then bright red. Their dad steps in front of Grace like Amber is a threat to be blocked. And Mom hisses, full volume, "What are you doing here?" Instant flashback. Amber is 21 again, standing in the rain with a suitcase, hearing her dad say, "If you're too ungrateful to help at the clinic, don't come back." Then the door slams. That was the night they erased her, or tried to. Back to the ballroom. Before that old shame can grab her throat, Michael steps forward. "My wife is a guest," he says. "She's the CEO of Medova. We were personally invited by the groom." And you can feel the air change, because Medova is not just a cute little startup name, it's the medical tech company half the doctors in that room have been trying to partner with. A woman in a burgundy dress squints at Amber's badge. "Wait, you're Amber Collins?" She turns to her friend. Her patient monitoring system is changing post-surgical care in like 3 states. Amber smiles. 4, actually. We just launched with Northwestern. And now people are whispering, CEO, keynote speaker, multi-hospital contracts. Meanwhile, Grace is over there being introduced as Stanford graduate and the genius who runs her family's clinic. You see the issue. Let's rewind for a second, because none of this was supposed to be Amber's life. When she was younger, her parents promised her that college fund, big future, medicine, all of it. Then one day, she checks her account and the money is gone. Same week, Grace posts beach photos from Cancun. When Amber confronts them, her dad calls her ungrateful, says she's not Stanford material anyway, and gives her a choice: work for free at the clinic or leave. So she leaves. Tiny apartment where the kitchen table is also the desk. 3 jobs, classes at night, ramen dinners. While her family tells everyone she dropped out and couldn't handle the pressure, she's quietly building the first version of Medova with a doctor she met at the hospital reception desk. 11 years of grind later, she walks back into that ballroom as the CEO of a company doing just under 400 million a quarter. That's the gap. Back to the wedding. Grace is doing her perfect bride routine, telling some doctors about her clinic, smiling, nodding, doing that little head tilt Amber knows means, "I'm about to fake it." One of the doctors frowns and says, "I thought Stanford ditched that treatment approach 3 years ago." Grace laughs too high. "Well, you know, professors, some of them hang on to old methods." Daniel's arm tightens around her waist, then loosens just a bit. At the same time, more people notice Amber. They recognize her from conferences, they've read her research, they use her software. The myth and the receipts are now standing in the same room. And then Leo, with zero awareness of the tension, delivers the line of the night. "Mom," he says loud enough for God to hear, "is that lady in the white dress your sister? Does she go to Stanford like you did?" You could hear a pin drop. Dad's face drains. Grace freezes. Daniel slowly turns to Amber. "You went to Stanford too?" She keeps her voice level. "Class of 2014. A cardiologist nearby chimes in. "You didn't tell us your wife's sister was the Amber Collins. Her algorithm cut our readmissions by 22%. Grace looks like someone unplugged her. And here's the thing. Amber could explode right here. She could tell everyone about the stolen tuition money, the lies, the night they kicked her out. Instead, she does nothing except exist. And that hurts them more than any speech." Later in the night, Amber steps into the bathroom. Grace is already there, hands shaking, mascara wand mid-air. Their eyes meet in the mirror. "Why are you doing this to me?" Grace snaps. "You're ruining my wedding. You're making Daniel question everything." Amber starts washing her hands. "Doing what exactly?" "Showing up, making everyone look at you." Tears are cutting lines through Grace's makeup. Amber dries her hands and says quietly, "I'm not doing anything, I'm just here." Grace slams the mascara down. "You were supposed to stay gone. They told everyone you dropped out, that you couldn't handle responsibility." Amber cuts her off. "And yet here I am, handling quite a lot." And she walks out, face calm, back straight. Back in the ballroom, something has shifted. Doctors are drifting toward Amber and Michael, asking about Medova, about outcomes, about implementation. A hospital administrator presses her card into Amber's hand. "Your system dropped our complication rate by 30%. We want to expand." Daniel ends up at Amber's elbow, fully engaged in the conversation, asking real questions. Grace is hovering at the edges now, smiling like a cracked porcelain doll. Dad barrels over, voice booming. "Daniel, this is Grace's wedding. Let's focus on her accomplishments." The room goes quiet. Eyes bounce between Amber, Daniel, Grace, Dad. Leo tugs on Amber's hand. "Aren't those people your family, Mom?" Amber kneels down to his level. "They're relatives, buddy. Family is different." You can feel that line hit the room. That's when she knows it's time to go. She hands off her half-empty champagne glass, gathers Leo, signals to Michael. On the way out, she stops by Daniel. "We're heading out," she says, and hands him a small cream envelope. Inside, a modest amount of Medova stock. Nothing crazy, just a quiet statement. "This is who I am now, not the desperate girl you heard about." "Thank you for coming," Daniel says, "and for everything tonight." He pauses, then leans in. "I'd love to visit Medova sometime." "Professionally," Amber smiles. "My assistant will set it up behind Daniel. Grace is watching. Smile stretched so tight it might snap." Amber walks out of that ballroom with her husband, her son, and her peace. No drama, no mic drop speech, just the power of walking away whole. A month later, Amber is in her office, floor-to-ceiling windows, city skyline, an 8-figure hospital contract on her desk. Her assistant buzzes. "Dr. Daniel Brooks is here to see you." He comes in looking wrecked. Dark circles, wrinkled suit, shoulders caved in. He sits down and says, "I've spoken to a lawyer about an annulment. Everything Grace told me was a lie. She never went to Stanford. She never ran the clinic. She helped Amber's parents commit Medicare fraud with fake billing for 15 years. He's turned them in. The clinic is under investigation. Everything is collapsing." He asks Amber if she's going to get involved. She could pick up the phone and end her parents' careers overnight. Instead, she says, "I'll send the records from when I worked there. Nothing more. Nothing less. Just the truth." Because at this point, her success is already their biggest punishment. They built their identities on lies. She built hers on work. The scoreboard is obvious. Months pass. Amber's in the garden with Leo, watering tomatoes. Michael brings lemonade. The life they built is quiet, solid, real. A certified letter arrives from Grace. The clinic is closed. The investigation nailed everything. Daniel left. She has nothing. And for the first time, Grace writes, "You were never the problem. I was raised to see your intelligence as a threat. Cutting you off was wrong. I'm sorry." Amber doesn't send money, doesn't rush to rescue her. She mails back one thing, an application for a paid internship at Medova. No shortcuts, no favoritism, just a chance to rebuild honestly if Grace wants it. Weeks later, at a medical conference, Amber spots her, Grace in pale blue scrubs, sitting in a beginner coding workshop, clutching that application. Their eyes meet. No big scene, no hug, no screaming. Amber just gives her a small nod. Not exactly forgiveness, not friendship, just, "I see you trying." Sometimes a relationship isn't meant to continue, it's meant to complete. Amber goes home, plants new seedlings in the garden, and tells Leo, "Some plants don't grow well next to others. They need their own space to thrive." He looks up and says, "Like people." She smiles. "Exactly like people." So now it's your turn. If you were Amber, would you have gone to that wedding? Would you have blown everything up on the microphone? Or did she play it perfectly, quiet, classy, and lethal? Drop your verdict in the comments. Team walk away or team burn it down. And if you like these true style stories about betrayal, comeback arcs, and revenge by success, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the next one? Let's just say another forgotten sibling shows up to a wedding, and this time they're the not bride. And the ex in the back row brought our receipts. Yeah,